He walked into court in torn clothes. The judge laughed, calling him another drifter. But what happened next left the whole courtroom in tears, because that drifter once saved the judge's life. It was a gray Monday morning at Fulton County Courthouse. The air inside the courtroom felt heavy, the kind of silence that made even the clock tick louder. Judge William Hayes, known for his no-nonsense attitude, adjusted his robe and glanced at the next case file. State versus Daniel Carter, he muttered. The bailiff opened a door, and a man stepped in. Rugged clothes, weather-beaten face, and a slow limp that told stories of old wounds. The courtroom snickered quietly. Another vagrant, someone whispered. The judge sighed. Let's make this quick. Daniel Carter stood tall, even in his worn boots. Charged with trespassing again, the judge said, flipping through papers. You were found sleeping in Lincoln Park, correct? Daniel nodded. Yes, Your Honor. That's where my son used to play. The room grew quiet. Judge Hayes raised an eyebrow, unimpressed. And that justifies breaking the law. Daniel didn't flinch. No, sir. Okay. But that park's the last place I remember him laughing. The judge leaned back, a hint of discomfort crossing his face, but he quickly masked it with sarcasm. Save your sob stories, Mr. Carter. This is a courtroom, not a therapy session. The prosecutor, a young woman, shuffled nervously. Your Honor, given the defendant's history, she began, but stopped when Daniel suddenly coughed, clutching his chest. The bailiff rushed forward with a glass of water. Daniel steadied himself. The courtroom lights flickered briefly. In that moment, the judge noticed something. A faint military tattoo on Daniel's forearm, faded but clear enough to read U.S. Army 22nd Infantry. His tone softened slightly. You served? He asked. Daniel nodded once. I did. For how long? Long enough to remember faces I can't forget. The judge paused, his eyes narrowing, sensing a story far deeper than a petty trespassing charge. During the lunch recess, Judge Hayes couldn't shake the name Daniel Carter from his head. He paced his chambers, searching his memory. That name, it tugged at something buried deep. 15 years earlier, Iraq, Fallujah. The memory came rushing back like a storm. Smoke, screaming, gunfire, a convoy ambushed. He, then, Captain Hayes, had nearly died until a soldier dragged him out of the flames. The soldier's name tag had read Carter. The realization hit him like a thunderclap. Could this broken man be that same hero? When court resumed, the judge watched Daniel closely. His movements, his steady eyes. Yes, the same presence. Hayes cleared his throat. Mr. Carter, he began cautiously. Did you ever serve overseas? Daniel hesitated. Yes, sir. Fallujah, 2005. The room fell silent. The judge's pen slipped from his hand. Fallujah, he whispered. The prosecutor looked confused. Your Honor. But the judge wasn't listening. His eyes watered, his voice cracking. You saved a man from a burning Humvee that day, didn't you? Daniel nodded faintly. I did. Didn't know who he was. Just did my duty. The courtroom froze as realization spread. Pia's eyes widened. The judge stood from his bench, his robe swaying. That man was me, he said, voice trembling. Gasps filled the room. Daniel's expression softened. I remember your eyes, sir. You looked scared, but you made it. Hayes blinked rapidly, emotion overwhelming him. I never got to thank you. Daniel simply smiled. You just... The tension broke into silence, the kind that carried more meaning than words ever could. The case that began with ridicule had just turned into redemption. By the next morning, the story had spread through the courthouse like wildfire. Judge recognizes homeless man as his war rescuer. Headlines read. Cameras gathered outside. Inside, it wasn't about fame. It was about closure. The judge called Daniel back into the courtroom, this time with respect in his eyes. Mr. Carter, he began gently. This court owes you an apology. Daniel looked surprised. For what, sir? For judging you before knowing you. Judge Hayes dropped all charges against Daniel and ordered that he be enrolled in a veteran assistance program. You've served this country enough, he said. Now it's time this country serves you. The courtroom erupted in applause, something rarely heard in a court of law. Tears filled Daniel's eyes as he whispered, "Thank you." But the judge wasn't finished. "And, Mr. Carter," he added softly, "I'd like you to join the courthouse staff as a veterans liaison. No more park benches." Daniel nodded, barely holding back emotion. For the first time in years, he felt seen, not as a vagrant, but as a man of honor. Weeks later, Daniel walked into the same courthouse, clean-shaven, wearing a new suit, carrying a folder instead of a citation. The judge greeted him with a firm handshake. "Good to have you on the team, Sergeant." Cameras flashed, but Daniel wasn't looking for attention. He looked up at the U.S. flag behind the bench and smiled. "It feels good to be home." The story spread nationwide, a reminder that behind every stranger's eyes lies a story untold. And sometimes, the man you judge today might be the one who once saved your life.